Okay. Hello, and good morning to a Create and Hang with me, Nick, and we're gonna continue working on the Harry Potter RPG that I've been working on for, I don't know how long it's been. But before we get that, let's address a few things. One, you may notice that my webcam is currently not active. Unfortunately, my webcam has been prone to weird little graphical glitches and whatnot. I have yet to find time to fix it, so I have supplemented, or rather replaced, I should say, my image with just a little character that I made on another live stream thing we did. I can't remember what exactly it was for. But this is Greybeard. He's a little avatar of mine that I usually play character as in Dungeons and Dragons when I'm not DMing. So, hi. Hello, Greybeard. How you doing? Good morning. Happy Friday. So that's number one. Number two, I want to address really quickly is a change of schedule. As you may or may not know, the Digital Arts Experience is going to be starting up its summer courses on July 6th. Which is not next week, but the week after that. We run a variety of different courses, ranging from animation, programming, graphic design, a whole bunch of stuff. Those are starting up next week, July 6th. And due to that, we are going to be changing the schedule for our YouTube stuff. So, next week, from Monday to Wednesday, will be the normal schedule with a Create and Hang at 10 a.m., a Create and Hang at 2 p.m., and the various other programs or live streams that we run. And then we will be off from Thursday until next week when we start camps on July 6th. And then we are going to be running a... What's the word I'm looking for here? We are going to be running a shortened schedule. We won't be running Create and Hangs as often because a lot of our time is going to be spent essentially making sure that all of our courses are running fine and all that stuff, and classes are going okay and all that. So we didn't want to have to worry about two different operations at the same time. So Create and Hangs are still going to be going on. They won't be live anymore. We will be posting up videos. I believe we're still planning on releasing them at 4 p.m. On, I think we said Monday and Thursday? I can't quite remember. But the point is that the schedule is going to be altered a little bit. Still going to be doing it, but it's going to be scaled back a little bit so we can focus on our summer courses. Which, if you haven't signed up for and you're interested in learning something a little bit different from the normal stuff you see out there, hang out with a cool teacher, create some cool projects, and have some fun, definitely encourage it. You can find all that info on our website, which I think is going to be in the description below. Okay. I think the only thing else I wanted to say was apologies for the air conditioner in the background. I don't think you can hear it, but it's too hot. I need an air conditioner or I'm going to die. So bear with me on that. Okay, so now that we've gone over those little odds and details, let's actually jump into the Harry Potter RPG and see where we got left off. Because unfortunately, this is probably going to be my last stream on this channel for a while. And I think I'm pretty darn close to getting a working prototype for this game. So we will maybe do a update video at some point where the team and I test out the mechanics and actually play a game, and I'll dungeon master. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Last week I think I said 2 weeks and it would be ready. I kind of doubt that, but maybe, who knows. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that has been developed. Because honestly, I need to double check and see where it needs to go from here. This may be a short stream today, depending on where it's at, because if there isn't too much to plan out, then really I have to start putting it into a Dungeon Master manual, essentially, or a playbook, so that it actually makes sense and start outlining things. So we've looked at this document before. It just kind of lists out our general skills and whatnot, where we've got the spellcraft, the attributes, like the mental stuff, and then we got some of the physical things. Student abilities and that kind of stuff I'm still fleshing out a little bit, so maybe we will focus on that. Difference between like a student ability and a feat or something. What do you mean, authorize? The other one opened up fine. I don't know what's going on with that. Come on. Why? Yes, confirm. You already have access. Why do this again? Anyway, I don't know. Okay, we got that. Boop. Don't know why it's giving me the runaround. That's always a good time. Okay, so, we looked at aspects of magic. I've got the combat, I think, possibly fleshed out a little bit, where essentially you have the surprise round, if there is such a thing, where you cannot counter. Establish the initiative order using Dex and Quickness, which is part of your physical attributes. Player with the highest initiative goes first, or the most number of successes. And then we have actions in combat, where we have a slow action and a quick action. I think I talked about this quite a bit, but I think we expanded that out a little bit with the spell casting system, so we're going to have to look at that as well. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff going on over here. So last stream I kind of worked this a little bit differently. I was kind of going from left to right, but I reformatted it. Let's actually take a step back here for a second, and let's go over the core system. So this is what's known as the core gameplay loop, where essentially you start off doing one thing, leads you to another, and then it circles back around to essentially continue the game, to keep playing. And this can vary differently depending on the type of game you're playing, but in this particular case, because it's an RPG, the idea is to go out, fight some stuff, get some stuff, increase your skills, and then that will allow you to take on bigger and badder baddies, for lack of a better term. So you have basically explore, using spells and skills to overcome obstacles, solve puzzles and mysteries, learn new spells, discover new sites, and other aspects of the wizarding world. So once you go and do that, you're going to gain experience. Now this is a little bit different from experience that we normally think of it. So normally if you're playing, again, I'm comparing this to Dungeons & Dragons, but it is a staple, kind of can't help it. When you gain XP, you accumulate this total number of points, and as that grows, like, you know, maybe your XP cap or whatever it is 500. When you reach 500, then your character levels up, and they get specific bonuses and things they can choose depending on their class. In this case, I'm doing it a little bit differently, where as you complete challenges and do things successfully, you always gain 1 experience point. And you can use these points in a couple of different ways. You can spend these points during your exams, because remember, this is essentially a story that takes place at a school, so exams are a real thing, so I do want to include that. You can either use the points during the exams, and what you can do is while you're being tested, I just bumped my mic, you can spend those points to turn a failure into a success, or I was kind of playing around with this, adding an additional die of the same type to the check. I'm kind of still floating around with that, but the point is that you can spend that point to help you more likely to succeed in an exam, which I thought was pretty cool. You can also spend the points on feats or additional abilities, or things like increasing your health, that kind of stuff. So there's like this kind of interesting balancing effect where you can channel that experience into passing your exams, which will basically allow you to level up certain aspects of your spellcraft or your attributes. But if you want to level up physical abilities, then I think we're going to have to do that through traits, because Hogwarts doesn't really test you for... There's like no athleticism, or at least none that are tested. Like obviously you've got Quidditch, which... yeah, there's some physical activity in that they are kind of relying on brooms. It's not like they're jogging consistently, but regardless, it is a sport. There's physical activity, but there's no exam or anything like that. There's no gym teacher at Hogwarts, which I think would be interesting to add. So I might do that for purposes of storytelling and giving characters a way to be tested, maybe? I don't know. We're kind of floating around with that. But the point is, you gain this experience. You can either spend it in the exams, or you can spend it on more practical experience, which I think is also interesting, because you can have a student like Hermione Granger who probably pours all of that experience into the exams, but her spellcasting is like off the charts. Then you have other two characters, like if we look at Fred and George Weasley, who, they're not bad at spellcasting for sure, but they have a lot more practical like uses. Like they are, you know, they're a little bit more hardy, more healthy. They're definitely roguish. They have connections. They can like invent things. They're very industrious, particularly when they open up their joke shop. So I like that sort of balance between like a very studious student and then someone who's like, yeah, I could study, but why not? I could go and make this other thing. So there's a really interesting sort of dynamic that happens there. And then, so depending on how you spend those points, which you could actually bypass this thing entirely now I think about it. So you could actually skip that whole thing. So I guess this makes a little bit more sense. So you can either take the short loop, but it will be a lot harder to essentially level up your spell casting skills. Not that it's not impossible, but then you can kind of balance how you want to go. And then this will allow your character to quote-unquote level up, but not entirely in the sense of like traditional level up skills. But you can increase your skills. So this is the core gameplay loop that I'm going for. Now, in terms of an actual like experience for like, I still haven't come up with a name for a dungeon master, which is kind of interesting. So you've got like Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master. I need a name for a Harry Potter sort of theme for it. Like Call of Cthulhu has the Keeper. Like I think Star Wars is the Lore Master, possibly. I need a name for Harry Potter stuff. Like I don't know if you just want to call them the Headmaster or something. Like I don't know. Still playing around with that. But we've got our loop here. The spellcasting system, I think we've gone through in a previous one, so we're not going to go through that again. But I think what I need to do now is take a little bit more look at the actual leveling, because this will basically allow me to figure out how spells are going to work, and that's all well and good. Though, let me take a quick look. I think there's something I'm forgetting here. You're hit with the spell, take a point of damage. Because one of the things here is I also need to talk about overcharge. Or I need another name for that. But basically, one of the aspects of Harry Potter that I want to lean into is the idea of fueling your spells with emotion. Like there are definitely points in the book, I think, that the characters like basically pour in extra energy, or they are using like a little extra oomph to get their spells across. Now, whether that's fueled by emotion or just extreme concentration, I like the idea of having a mechanic that allows the players to fuel their spells. And this is sort of related to the idea that you can turn a failure into a success, but instead of using experience points, you're using this sort of inner sort of explosion of energy. So I need to come up with a way to do that and also kind of balance that out with taking the exams. So real quick, let me see here. So what do I want to do here? It's a very weird muddling effect where I need to figure out what to do. Magic Overcharge, it looks like I called it, or Emotional Surge. There's additional spellcasting stuff here. I also need to come up with a point system. It's very weird how trying to, like, having the idea is great, but then trying to implement it is a whole other ballpark. So what to do next? I think let's maybe focus a little bit more on character, because I need to find what feats are. I need to find actually, what do I need to do? Let's come up with a checklist, because that will probably help. So let's see here. Level spell list, system brainstorming questions. Let's go ahead and make an Excel sheet here. Things to do, I'm going to call it. Alright, we're going to put in a checkbox. Just going to copy this. Alright, so we need to define rules for overcharge or enhanced spells. Define leveling up system, or actually to create leveling up system. Wow, cannot type apparently. We also need to define feats, background abilities, and then there's student abilities, which is a whole other thing. Abilities. IES, isn't right? What else? Leveling up system, enhanced overcharge, good. I think I have that figured out. Well, that's really just the 3 things? Student abilities. Oh, right, and then background. I think what I'm going to do first is we're going to try and figure out some point allocation. I had attempted to do this in the past, but I think it's going to help guide with how many points we start off with. So, yeah, this is where it got a little nuts here. Because essentially one of the things that I need to figure out to make sure the system is not, you know, super unbalanced is make sure that you can't, like, overpower your character super quickly. Or max them out. Because then if you have, you know, 2 more years of Hogwarts to go, but your character is already, like, headmaster level, then, you know, obviously that's going to be a little, you know, that's not going to be great. So I think what I need to do is figure out how many points it takes to level something up. Because let's go back to our aspects of magic here. I already said that I want the... So, like, this skill here is going to be a combination of wand work and focus. So, I already said that that's going to be done by adding the 2 skills together. That's going to give you your overall spell or skill level, which should add that in here. Brrr. Ay, ay, ay. What am I doing here? Where is... You know what? I may split this up. Let's drag this out. Put that over here. Let's take this guy, pop it over there. So let me take a look at my previous notes and see kind of where we left off. So, assuming that we're not going to be testing the physical stuff over here, we need to... So there's a total of 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 classes, which I think, yeah, so there's 13 potential exams. Oh, who's beeping and bopping over here? Sorry, my phone just went off. I may, so that was just a notification from a coworker. I may have to end the stream a little bit early so we can start a meeting on time, but that's okay. We've got another 40-ish minutes. So we got 13 potential exams. We definitely said the physical traits were going to be different. Do they have... Because I said there were going to be 3 semesters and 7 years of Hogwarts. So... Oh, God, that's two... Is that right? Is that number right? 273 exams? So 13 exams, 3 semesters, times 7 years. Yeah, that's a lot of exams. I think one of the things that we're gonna have to do to make sure that this is not super boring is really lean in on the narrative aspect of it, because again, if we look in the books, sometimes the writing just describes what happens in the exam in a couple sentences. So. This should be done as very quickly, if not as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be plain boring. So 30 potential exams, 273 potential exams. 273 potential exams, 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 And we have a success rate of, depending on the skills and whatnot. Where did my dice go here? Spells monster list. Did I do the percentages elsewhere? Oh, dice statistics. So at any point, I try to keep the percentage of spellcasting around 70-ish%. So if we look at that, sorry, back over here, times 0.7. Yeah, so I calculated that correctly. 191 successful exams. 13 exams, passing about 9 each semester, 27 points each year. So without forcing, without assuming that they don't use any of the regular experience points, then that is going to essentially give them 190 points to use. All right, so if they do that, so if there's 190 points, I also need to come up with another name for the point system. But if they pass 190 exams, this is going to get tricky, because the other thing I need to think about is, so let's say they actually pass an exam, right? Let's say you're taking a charms class. At the end of the year, Flitwick, assuming he is still the teacher there, which I don't see why not, let's say you pass an exam. What can they do? Do they level up both of these, or do they only level up one? I would say, maybe only having them choose, because if they continue to pass all 3 of these, they're going to get overpowered really quickly. So maybe only saying they can level up like their wand ability or their pronunciation at a time would be good, because then they have to balance. They can also focus on making sure, like, so if they take a transfiguration and a charms and they want to do really well against defense against the dark arts, they can focus those on these 2 particular attributes. So you can funnel your skills a little bit. How do I account for that? Should I account for that? These are the really weird questions you get when you start staring at a screen and thinking about RPGs. Apparently this is the first time doing it. Because the other thing is that, like, if we look at the core system, so you have these experience points, right? You can spend those experience points on your exams. And then, do we say can level, maybe we'll just call them levels. Increase your spellcraft, your skills, or physical abilities by spending experience points and leveling up your and leveling them up. So maybe that will relate to, because I know in the books, I seem to recall there was like a grade system for, like, Dumbledore had, I think, like, he was a first order of Merlin or some such, and maybe you need like a certain like level of skill in something. I don't know why Slack is. My phone is going off, and it's not showing me all the messages for some reason, which is just grand. In any event, I think what we'll do is we'll have experience points, and then we'll have levels. So maybe I'll come back over here. Associate. Oh, I wrote level. All right. Cool. All right. So maybe instead of points being awarded, they can just choose to level one of these works here. So, so if they're gonna pass 190 exams naturally, just based on the dice statistics. So that means they're gonna have 190 levels to distribute amongst here. So I said that at max level, everyone should have 6 skills at max level, 4 somewhere in the middle to upper, and then 3 lower to mid skills. I might actually bump this down to... because I think this is something I want if players go out and explore and get more stuff. So I might actually knock this down a peg. Let's say 3. Maybe I'll go the opposite direction. 3, 4, and 5. I think that makes a little bit more sense instead of going down the opposite way, because it should be harder to get the skills at a higher level. So in that case, so 3 skills should take up the majority of points. 4 should take up some, and then these 5 ones should be fine. So if we divide this up by 3, and then we can probably skew it, perhaps. Where's my handy dandy calculator? Let's see here. So 190 divided by 3 gives us... Alright, so by itself we'll say 62 points, just to keep the math simple. Or 62 levels, I should say. We need to make sure we use the correct terminology. So if I did this evenly, it would come out to about... You know what? Let's actually just make this 60 even. And we'll make this 180. Again, we're keeping the math simple here. Alright. Now, the lower to mid tier should be fairly easy. And when I say, I guess we should define what the mid tier is. So, I'm becoming Umbridge apparently. I do, I haven't, so I'm currently rereading the books for reference. I seem to recall that Umbridge did sort of like a herm, but in the movie she does like a she does like this really weird squeaky voice. I don't know. I seem to like the movie version better because she's just this seemingly little witch that, you know, looks all nice and pompy and, you know, happy, and she's like the worst thing ever. I'm just taking a swig of water real quick. Alright, cool. Alright, so for easy maths, we said 180 points. We ditched 9 points. Whoop-de-doo. So... what do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, okay. So maybe we'll say... this is... it's tough. So maybe this is 4... I want to say these 3 are high tier. Hold on, we got a color code here. We're in a color code. So let's say red is high tier, blue is mid, and then these guys are lower tier. I think it. So maybe I should do 5 and then blue. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. So what's the most you can get up with 4D12 according to... wait, 4D12? Serious? Hold on. Hold the phone here. Oh, that's still counting as mid? I don't know about that. Whoop, sorry. Mixing spots here. 4D12. Baffling. That one, I think I'm gonna have... no, I think I'm gonna cut that back down to scale a little bit. What's the difference between... let's look. What's the difference between 3D10 and 4D12? Because then... yeah, because this is like super crazy high. So maybe we'll do 4 here, 3, and then 2, and then this is like ultimate level. So maybe we'll change this to orange. Make this one a blue. The blue. Okay, I like... oh, that's the wrong color. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Because then 4D10... you can get to, like, complex. I kind of like that. That makes sense. Because that's, like, solid mid-tier right there. Sorry, I keep switching tabs up here. Alright, so that makes sense. So we got, like, you can get up to 3d6 with, you can get up to 3d6 with the low tier stuff, up to 4d10 with the mid tier, and then 5d12 with the really high end stuff. And then 5d20 is like, we're talking headmaster level here. Okay, so kind of like that. So then the question is, so level allocation. So you already start at 1d4, like no problemo. Question is, how many levels does it take to get you up to here? So we've got 6. Well, again, we got to stagger this too. So there's going to be more points spent up here. So maybe we'll say I'm going to say 90 or maybe 100. 100, so it leaves me 80. Maybe we'll do 50 and 30. Seems a little skewed. Let's do 90. What does that give me for a total? 90, 50, and 30. So I got 10 extra points. Maybe I'll do 55 and 35. Because there's a pretty serious jump between these two here. 50, 40. No, I don't like that. So from here to here, it's nearly double, though. Interesting, interesting. What to do, what to do, what to do. Maybe I'll say 80, 70, 60? What is that? Is that a correct total? No. Where did I get those numbers? So this is nearly double, and then that's an extra 30. I guess that kind of makes sense because there isn't a ton of difference between the two here. I've also got to split these points up between here. To quote Alpha from Power Rangers, this is tough. Because the other thing to keep in mind is that they're already starting here. So there's really 3, 3, and then 2. Though again, I could put 1d2 for first year. So pretty much you're flipping a coin, which I think would even this out a little bit more. don't know if I want to do that, though. Because that is just... That's really tough stats to deal with. Because that's a 50-50 shot. I don't know. I may come back to that. So let's assume that you're already starting at 1d4. Because if we make the chances 50%, that's going to be very frustrating to deal with. Okay. So I got 30 points here. Well, it's assuming I like this. This is the really weird thing about using numbers to represent a system, right? Because do those numbers make sense? This is where it gets a little weird. Because we can easily, you know, if we define the system another way, those numbers could be bigger, lower, simpler, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. I don't know. There's something about this that is bothering me a little bit. What if I made this 100? This is 50. And then keep that 30. Because it should be a little difficult to attain skills at this stage. I could also do... Could I also say 90, 50, 40? No, that doesn't seem quite fair. Oh, maybe this one. Let me just make sure this is added correctly. 90, 60, and 40. 190. Okay, so we went a little bit higher, but that's closer to our original stuff anyway. So I kind of like this because there's a 20-point change to here, and then there's a 30-point change to here. And then this is 150, and then... Oh, I don't think that is correct. 100 plus 50 plus 30... I don't know. That's 180. Okay. This is a little bit more even. I think I'm going to go with this one just to give it a fair shot, but I can always come back to and rescale this. So I'm going to say that it's going to take a total of 90... level 100 just makes it a lot nicer to even out, though. Herm, as Umbridge would say. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward this because there's a little bit more of a gradual curve, and it doesn't make it super hard. Plus, if they're going on extra experience points, they're going to be, you know, allocating those a little bit differently. So we're going to put that on the side for right now. Let's go with this section. I wonder if... Because the other thing is, like, these are, like, crazy numbers, and I'm wondering if that's going to be very hard to track. That's my only issue. I don't know. Let's see where this goes. So we got 40 points that I want to allocate, so they level up from 1d4 all the way up to 3d6. So we could say that... So I've got 40 points to distribute amongst 3 skills, basically. So where is the calculator? Calculator. So 40 divided by 3, so roughly 13-ish points. Or levels, I should say. I keep using the wrong terminology. So we could say 13... 13. Oh, no, 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 no. 13 and... So that'll get me 369. So, all right, so 14 for that one. So that's if I were to split these up evenly. Now, obviously, we don't want to do that. So maybe we'll say that... Again, we should see that gradual increase. So we'll say that... maybe 5, and that leaves me with... Nope, too little, I think. Let's say... I could also simplify this a little. Anyway, let me see what the allocation is, because one thing that I want to do is make it easy to figure out how to like make this easy for players to track, and the only thing I can see an issue with right now is like trying to keep track of all these points and whatnot. So I need to make sure that there's a very easy flow to follow, or I need to rethink this so there aren't so many crazy numbers. But let's see where the numbers get me for a start, and then I'll think about refocusing it. So we've got 13, 13, and 14. I definitely think we should make this closer to... Let's start with 15. We'll take an extra point out of here. Or maybe I should make that higher, because that still leaves me a lot here. So maybe we'll make this 20 points. What was that, an extra 5? We'll take the 5 out of here, so 7. Now wait, though, that's for 5 of these. 40 points for the 5. I gotta reconfigure that. So this isn't right. So this was assuming that this was all going toward 1 leveling, but there should be enough. 40 points should get you 5 skills in here that are lower to mid. So I actually need to split these up a little bit more. So we originally had... So I had 40 points divided against 5... Whoa, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Clear. 40 divided by 5, well, I think gives us 8. So that gives us 8 points to spend. Or 8 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, just to level up one of these, so the total here has to come up to 8. So, and that, okay, so that makes it not as crazy high. So, if we, max would be 8 here, so maybe I can do 3, 5, and another 3. No, that doesn't make sense. So maybe 2, 3, and something? So that actually gets me up to 9 here. 2, 3, 4. Is this gonna be just like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I will laugh if it works out that way. Which that would actually be fine. And then this could be 10. I will laugh if that works. So that's interesting. So this would be considered level 1. So you could actually just allocate 1 point in either skill level. So basically, to get this, I would need either a point in... I would need 2 points total. Oh my god. Gnats, get out of here. I don't know where this blasted fly got into my room or how. So I would need a total of 2 here. Keep in mind, this is going to be split. So again, if we look at charms, I would need a point here and a point here. know. We'll have to see how this works out. Okay. So, because then to get up to here for charms, like if I want to get... because this is weird, right? So, according to my system, if I have 2 points here and 2 points here, added together, that gets me 4. So, exam-wise, I would have to basically take charms, and I would have to allocate... because I'm trying to think about how the system can be broken as well, right? So, if I have someone taking 3 exams, right? I have to draw this on paper. Sorry, I can't do this on stream. But if we've got a person taking charms, and they decide to... well, according to our thing over here, they're going to pass 70% of the exam. So they got 3 semesters, so it's 9 exams. So 70% of 9 is what? It's less than 70%, I'm sure. So 9 exams times 0.7. So they're going to pass 6 exams out of that semester. So that means they're going to move 6 levels around one way or another. If they want to max out charms, then basically they would have to allocate 2 points here and 2 points here, which already cuts down the other 2 points. So they would have to... and they could put those other 2 points over here, which would give... oh yeah, this is kind of weird here. So... if we were... interesting. So if they have 9 exams, they're going to pass 6 naturally, right? So that's going to give them 6 things to allocate. They could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because then, basically, I guess it also depends on which ones they pass. Oh, this is weird. I may need to change this up a little bit. Because it's an interesting idea. The problem is like, how do you balance it? And that's kind of what I'm running into. I think rather than drag this out, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to stick to the lower tier levels for right now, because it's going to be a lot easier to crunch the math and see how like this is going to overload the system. But already I can see the issue with the system that I've developed is that even if they take 9 exams, 1 for each semester, and they only pass 70% of them, which is going to give you about 6 points, you know, they could easily start to rack up skills depending on which ones they pass. So, in theory, if they only pass 6 exams, right? Even if they fail Defense of the Dark Arts every single time, and they get Charms and Transfiguration, they can just even out the points. Because they have 3 opportunities. They can put 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point there. And then for Charms, they can put, you know, all 3 points over here. So that would be like 5 over here. So that would already get them potentially up to the next tier. So, okay. So there's something we have to do to make sure that the leveling isn't super fast. Because the problem is when I share these attributes now, it's an interesting aspect. But looking at it from the leveling perspective, it creates a problem for us. Because sharing these 2 attributes means that these are going to level up ridiculously fast. So that's something I need to look at a little bit more detailed. I like having this progression over here from lower tiered skills to mid to high to grandmaster, however you want to, you know, categorize it. But I think I need to come up with a different system. Either I need to change it from a point system to something else, or I need to reconfigure how the points are added together. So that's something I'm going to take a look at on the next stream. We only got about 10 minutes left, and I have to hop off a little early to get to a meeting. So I think what I'm going to do is end it here a little early, because this is going to involve me staring at the screen for a much longer period of time, which is not necessarily great for streaming. So I hope you kind of enjoyed that a little bit. I know, again, it was numbers, it was considering options, but that's part of the design process, trying to figure out how this is all going to work. And, you know, I can have all the best ideas in the world, but unless I put something to paper and I iron it out, it's not gonna mean bupkis to anybody. All right, so some ending notes here. Remember that our summer classes are starting July 6th. We still have some room, particularly in the first and second sessions. Those spots are starting to go, so I definitely encourage you to go check those out if you have a youngin at home and is interested in, you know, digital arts, anything from drawing to, you know, game stuff, animation, anything like that, programming. Definitely go check us out, see what that's all about. Spots are going quick, and don't miss your spot. And with that said, thank you for watching. Remember that we are going to be having a change of schedule. We are going to be moving the Create and Hangs and all the other content. We're going to slim it back a little bit. Next week from Monday to Wednesday, we're going to have our regular schedule. It will be off from Thursday to Sunday, coming back starting summer camps July 6th. And our Create and Hangs at that point will only be, I want to say, Monday and Thursday, if I remember it off the top of my head. But it's all going to be twice a week at 4 p.m. and a few other odds and ends. We'll release a new schedule so you can see it all very soon. So thank you for joining me, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to our info box and let us know, and we'll be happy to help you out. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a good day.